Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Idea PC, joined here once again by my good friend Stonefeld. Travis, my friend, how have you been? It's been a while, and here we are, getting ready to kick off here on Summoner's Rift.
Oh, I've been so good because I've been watching replays of these two teams like all week long. I'm so excited for this matchup. And already we start to see some of these jungle bans coming out. I knew the jungle was going to be really, really contested in this matchup. And I wonder how deep the champion pools of these junglers go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the Udyr, the Hecarim, even the Kindred with the recent buffs here on 11.7. These champions have all been so prevalent in League of Legends in the competitive amateur scene for a while now. And so I would say it's not at all surprising to see these getting kind of picked and banned away. The Lucian actually getting taken away here has kind of been a powerful flex pick. For these teams for quite a while, can have the option to be played in the mid lane also as the AD carry. And, who knows, maybe the Lucian top might come through. But there's going to be no Kai'Sa ban, and that is instantly going to be Kiba picking that one up here first pick. Can't say that I'm surprised at all.
Yeah, and I like this from Glaive, but I also think that Omega Gaming completely expected it. They always do this. They always have the first pick Kai'Sa, and here come some of the new champions in the meta that I'm excited to see. The Volibear, again, being a flex pick, and the Karma, also a flex pick that we've already talked about. So I think Glaive might have some trouble figuring out exactly the lane assignments Omega Gaming are going for. Karma can go support, top, bottom, Volibear, top, into the jungle. I've seen some people play at support, but don't quote me on that. And here we have a Cho'Gath lock in from Glaive, so they are mixing it up a bit, something I haven't seen from them yet.
Yeah, very interesting to see some of these champions coming on through. But again, Cho'Gath does scale very well towards the late game, as does the Kai'Sa here. So Glaive going to be able to pick up some comfort here. I would like to see maybe the support pick actually come out here, so you can wrap up that bottom lane. You can try and secure yourself maybe a little bit of counterplay here. The Volibear could be going towards the jungle. The Karma could be going towards the support. And maybe that third pick might allow you to kind of pick some of these lanes. But they will go ahead and pick up the Cassiopeia here, which means Omega Gaming does have the option for that counter pick there in the mid lane. Shout out to our boy there, Mac Dewey, with putting that one up on the recipes. Can't say I'm very surprised. Tutamax has had some pretty impressive performances here on the pick, but it's going to be up to Omega Gaming to see exactly what they're going to pick up. And there it is, the Varus. We talked about it in the pre-show.
It amazes me that Tutamax can just slam Cassiopeia on B3 like this and just all season long. Like, it just doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He's just like, yeah, I'll play Cassiopeia into anything you have. There should be some solid counter picks that Princeton has access to, but really none of them have worked in previous games. So I think it's a solid pick.
Yeah, it should be interesting here. With this, though, Omega Gaming will have the option to be able to counterpick, obviously, both the solo lanes here. With the Cho'Gath being selected, I don't think that we're going to be getting anything too meta-breaking and seeing, support Cho'Gath anytime soon. But with the Volibear pick, you do have the option to kind of flex that. Do you want to go and play a top lane into the Cho'Gath? Do you want to play it into the jungle here? And talking about jungle, we are seeing those jungle bans and support bans coming on through. So Glaive, pretty confident that the Karma is going to be going maybe towards the mid lane. And possibly this is what, they kind of expected. But we do see the Anivia getting hovered here, and it will get locked in.
Yeah, with the Anivia lock-in, I'm really curious about like the jungle matchup and how that's going to go. It looks like Omega Gaming are really putting some pressure on Glaive eSports here, banning the Rek'Sai, banning the Elise, and saying, how deep is your champion pool? Like, how far down can you go? Last time, it was Udyr, Hecarim, and Olaf were banned, and McShootums had to go to the Nunu. So no Olaf ban. I think that's kind of free if they leave Olaf up, but I wonder if they think that it's a little too weak on the current patch and they can handle it.
Ah, there it is, though. Going to be locked up in here for McShoots. Going to be taking one of those fast clear junglers, wants to be able to farm himself on up, and the Alistar going to get hovered and most likely locked in here. I think it does pair pretty well there with the Kai'Sa. You do have a lot of CC in the kit that allows her to be able to engage that ultimate ability to move around the battlefield here on Summoner's Rift. Omega Gaming Unleashed, they are going to have the option to kind of finally solidify maybe what we're going to be seeing here up towards the top side of the map. You have that Olaf. Nope, it is going to be the Nautilus picked up. So this is actually very interesting, kind of how this draft is shaken out. Typically, we do see Nautilus as a support, but I would not be entirely surprised if we get something really kind of interesting and see Nautilus maybe in the mid lane. But obviously, that's maybe a little bit of a pipe dream. We do have the Karma and the Anivia kind of sitting here. I do
Yeah.
like the draft. I think overall by Omega Gaming, it is very kind of standoffish, maybe a little bit more pokey with the champions like the Karma, Varus, and Anivia. And you've got a little bit of engage and a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for here? Peel that you would have in some of these abilities. But at the end of the day, the scaling potential here from these Glaive esports carries is a threat that absolutely cannot be underestimated.
Yeah, and I have my eye on the Varus build here. I think that the frontline tanks of Cho'Gath, Olaf, and Alistar are going to mean that this Varus probably shouldn't go lethality, should probably start looking at some attack speed items to help shred down this front line. And then with the Karma as well, like the double support composition that they've drafted, I'm curious how the Volibear is going to build. Volibear does a ton of damage, even as tank Volibear, so I'm not a jungle main, and maybe that's just the way to go. And maybe their front line is just going to be a little bit better. But I do like what Omega Gaming is doing. I do think that I think that Glaive drafted kind of the standard Glaive style, and they're just going to say, "We're going to beat you. We've done this all season. We're going to beat you. It doesn't matter." And Omega seemed to have a plan. But it's not if you know what the enemy is bringing. It's can you beat it? So is this plan good enough to actually beat Glaive Esports? I think is the question we need to start asking.
Well, absolutely, and I mean, if the regular season was any kind of indication of that, it definitely was Glaive Esports favored the entire time. And Omega Gaming Unleashed really going to try and break out of that mold. It is Karma top lane Stone. We will see Karma into Cho'Gath. That is an interesting matchup that I do not think any one of us expected here. Volibear though going into the jungle, and then Princeton there on the Anivia. So kind of awesome to see these champions being flexed and moved around. I do like to see it. And at the end of the day, the Karma Cho'Gath matchup does seem a little bit futile. Obviously, the later that laning phase does go on. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's kind of okay. We've got our shields, we've got our scaling. We have the shields, the buffs, the speed increases, all of this. Is that going to really net you any kind of advantage though against this Cho'Gath that's just going to be standing there on the front line? I don't think so.
Yeah, as the game goes on, you really got to have your eyes toward the Vars to kind of shred down the front line as they're running at you. But we've talked a lot about the mid jungle 2v2 on the analyst desk and in the
Mhm.
pre show. And I really favor Omega Gaming here with the amount of CC that a Volibear and a Nivea bring to the fight if it ever pops off in the middle lane.
Yeah, we'll have to end up seeing it. Yeah, it's just I really these teams they have these comps that scale relatively well. It's awesome. It's wonderful to see. But what are you going to do with the early game?
Yeah.
Right? That's really what it's going to come down to here, I think. Anivia, not exactly the kind of champion that you want to be ganking for. I think Cassiopeia, though, definitely has a lot of options, especially with the Olaf, who is going to be looking for some of those early ganks, maybe pre-6. Whereas Volibear really is kind of waiting to hit level 6 to be able to unlock that ultimate turn-off towers and be able to start pushing objectives. I think that if Glaive Esports is able to get a little bit of an advantage with the Olaf and with the Cassiopeia, they will just be inherently a little bit more useful come the mid to the late game because both these teams have such great scaling options.
Yeah, and I do think that the Glaive esports in a vacuum, their composition does scale better into the late game, particularly around these buffs. But I do think that some of the buffs to Volibear could really impact the late game and how it works out. Especially with the enchanter. I tend to favor in the current meta, I tend to favor the composition that does have an enchanter. I do think they're very strong. I think the Moonstone Renewer and the Staff of Flowing Water are just really, really good items to build for your entire team composition. And if you can back off, if you can take an initial engage and then have some peel to back off, you're able to heal up with the karma poking so much that it can be kind of undoes the scaling that Glaive Esports can do. But I do think that they scale better. So it's hard because this league, every time I look at team compositions, it's like, I don't know. This is just going to be, and I know that with these two teams, they're just going to go toe to toe. A lot of times team compositions are cut and dry, but when I look at the mid league and excellency, it's always just like, you all just like to fight. Like y'all are just gonna go toe to toe. You're gonna fight the whole game, and all of my predictions analysis doesn't really matter because it's gonna be a 2v2 in the mid lane, a 2v2 in the bottom lane, a 1v1 in the top lane. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, indeed, there, Stone. But we're getting ready to wrap up the draft here. Will Omega Gaming truly be unleashed here on Summoner's Rift with the Karma top that nobody has ever heard of, or will Glaive Esports be able to hold on out here, and will Glaive Kiba take them to victory here in game number one? We're gonna flip it on over, and you will see Gungeon and Chief Chirpa out on Summoner's Rift for game number one after the intermission. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere for this banger series. We are ready to go. XLNC Mid League Finals coming at you after the break.
Everyone to XLNC Mid-League Spring Finals. Glaive Esports Rose versus Omega Gaming Unleashed. I'm Chief Chirpa 03, joined on the desk by the one, the only Gungeon. How you feeling about this game, Gun?
I am feeling great. I think this is going to be a very exciting series. I said it in my prediction, even though I don't think it's going to be too long of a series. I think these games are going to be super close. And I'm excited to see what both of these teams are kind of game planning in, because right now, Omega Gaming has had the week of rest after playing the quarters and being able to get the bye through semis, while Glaive Esports had the bye through quarters, but then is now going to be able to have that consistency of being able to play semis and then the week after play the final game. So it's going to be interesting to see what both of these teams have cooked up. And I think they've cooked up a pretty spicy draft, if I do say so myself.
For sure. I am completely excited for these finals. Both these teams earned their spots here for the spring finals. The Omega Gaming Unleashed is 4th seed, while Glaive Esports rose 2nd seed. And I think we're just seeing a normal start out to this early game.
Yeah, just a normal start, and again, both teams are just kind of fanning out, just looking for, making sure that their junglers are not invaded, because the jungle matchup is going to be really important as we kind of go into this mid game. Again, top lane matchup, the Cho'Gath into Karma, there's not going to be much action. Obviously, Simulacrum has picked this Karma pick as kind of like a scaling pick, something that can support adjustment as he kind of scales later into these team fights. But in the lane, it is just going to be a farm fest. Do not get baited. They may throw abilities at each other. They may take damage, but there will not be much fighting up top. But the jungle matchup is really where we're going to see stuff happen, especially with Fallen Artemis taking this Predator Volibear. It's not something we see usually. It's usually a press the attack on jungle Volibears, especially after the buffs with his clear speed going up so much. He's kind of taken back over the control over the jungle. So I'm excited to see what this Predator Volibear does do into this comp. It is going to be difficult as we see the bot lane already getting the level 2 advantage on the side of Kiba and Issei.
Yeah, it's so important to get that level 2 in the bot lane. It's twice the amount of abilities that you're missing out on. There's so many great engages for both of these supports, and it's just not a place you want to be down a level.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see where this Varus pick what this Varus pick kind of does in this draft. It is a pick that we haven't seen in a long time. The last time we really saw Varus was kind of during the Ardent Sensor meta and during the meta where Poke Varus was really a thing. But obviously right now adjustment is going the Halo Blade, so we will be seeing the on-hit attack speed Varus build. It is strong. It does have really good engage, especially with the Anivia kind of running in with Simulacrum. On this cover pick, kind of speeding up the entire team. My big fear is that with the second round pick, so the draft was really interesting, and I kind of want to talk about it because we're going to have a pretty lull of a early game. On the second round with this Glaive and Omega draft in game number 1, after picking the Varus in the first round, Glaive were able to take they were able to take Olaf and Alistair in second round, and both of these characters are able to ignore CC, the lockdown of Anivia, the lockdown of Varus, and they're just able to kind of run it through as we see McShoot's running it down top lane.
Yeah, McShoot's up in this top lane. Great knockup from Miho, and Miho grabbing that first blood.
Yeah, Simulacrum just feeling like he didn't even want to flash. Maybe he was scared that if he flashes, McShoot's probably just flashes right after him, and he still ends up dying. So Simulacrum just pushing up a little bit too early. Top bot lane.
Yup, Kiba now.
Oh!
Being knocked right under turret. Glaive, Kiba grabbing that kill there. Great outplay by Issei.
If you have the Issei chat spam about Issei being the greatest support of all time and Kiba just being a mediocre AD carry that gets fed by Issei, just spam that in chat because that was a great play by Issei to avoid the play for that Fallen Artemis tried to do. He tried to force something down bot because he saw McShoot's on the top side already making the play happen for his side. He tries to make the play. Issei gets a beautiful knock back into the tower range, and the Pulverize gets the kill for Kiba, and now this is going to kind of propel this bot lane, and this is what we were scared of. Kiba is undefeated on this champion. Sorry to cut you off, but Kiba is undefeated on this champion, and it feels like every single draft, it's like that anime kind of trope of saying, well, you beat my friends, but you won't beat me. And at a certain point, you're just like, can we stop giving Kiba Kai'Sa? Because he always gets ahead. Issei is great at setting him up. And Kai'Sa is such a hyperscaler of a champion, especially when she hits that 100 AD, 100 attack speed mark. But McShoot's going to punish the top lane.
Yep, Simulacrum hitting that root, getting slowed by those undertows, just like the ocean. But Simulacrum being able to get away with a beautiful root.
Yep, gets the root out, is able to walk away. McShoot's is trying to kind of focus up because if you get this top lane choke at the head, there's not a lot of consistent damage either. Obviously, adjustment can, when he kind of turns into the attack speed Varus, can build the Blade of the Ruined King, can get a lot of that on-hill health damage. The problem is the engaged range that Issei does provide makes it really risky for adjustment to ever really be kind of sitting in fights and auto-attacking. So if Miho can get ahead in this lane, get ahead really far up and get that chem tank, he's going to be such a big threat. There's probably not enough time for Princeton or adjustment to kind of kill this super tank that is going to be the Cho'Gath as we scale into the game.
As this game gets later and later, Kiba's going to scale. Totamax is going to scale, and Mio is going to scale so hard. All of them very great late game, as an early Drake being taken by Omega Gaming.
Yeah, good job by Fallen Artemis there to just punish the pressure that McShoots is putting in the top lane. He's covering for his top lane, which leads to Fallen Artemis being able to just take that early Mountain Dragon. It's not going to be too big of a deal. It is going to start the Mountain or the Dragon stacking, and we will be either on a Ocean or a Cloud Soul Rift for both of the teams. I would hope that for the side of Omega Gaming with the early Mountain Dragon, they're going to want to have that Infernal Soul. The Cloud Soul will be good. It will kind of provide maybe the speed and the kind of run in with Simulacrum's Karma. So both kind of souls are going to be really important for the side of Omega Gaming. And obviously right now Glaive is just kind of wanting to scale, kind of letting Totamax just free farm in the mid lane and get to the point where then the Cassio can take over.
Exactly. That's what you want Totamax to be doing on this cast. Just being able to free farm, not having too much threats in this mid lane, and just making sure that the Fallen Artemis can't do anything here in the mid lane.
Yeah, Fallen Artemis just relaxing, you know. The Volibear with the boots bear himself with the drip, the Gucci shoes, the Nike free rise. Oh, bot lane looking for a little bit of an engage, but oh, the sub just gets caught.
Yep, the sub getting caught out. Heal coming up from adjustment as the beautiful Killer Instinct coming out from Kiwa to grab that kill onto the sub. And they may be looking for a dive here as McShoot is over here in the enemy jungle. But I believe this is just going to be an invade as Totamax getting stunned, forces the flash from Fallen Artemis, and has to flash himself. TP coming in from Miho, and the flash engage, and the Devourer is not going to be enough as you do have Agnivia coming out, the most useful champ in the game right now.
Oh my god, and they are just almost able to kill Princeton there. Great play by Totamax to just use both of his summoners to live, and this is getting scary because already we're seeing a 2.2k gold lead, but the bigger problem is this bot lane differential that is already happening. Kiba picking up the 2 kills. He might be able to steal, but ends up giving over the blue buff to Totamax. Getting the blue buff on your mid laner, very good. Keeps him healthy, keeps the mana bar up, and Totamax now sitting on the 2-0 with the Noon Quiver and the pickaxe, looking to get to that 100 AD mark, and that's when Kai'Sa's really going to take off. And this was the fear. We talked about this in the pre-show, is let's make sure that Kiba and Issei don't just bot gap you. Have the sub be able to kind of detach from adjustment and kind of make plays around the map. It doesn't look good for the side of Omega Gaming as Kiba's already hyper scaling into the game, and he's going to become a bigger and bigger problem as we go along.
Oh, I completely agree with you there. It's just going to get scarier and scarier for Omega Gaming Unleashed. But instead of talking about it all down, what is Omega Gaming Unleashed's plan here? What do they need to do to come back?
So I think that they already have kind of started the plan, which is going to be the Dragon Stacking. I think Dragon Stacking will be kind of where Omega Gaming try to take some sort of control because, again, Simulacrum's item breakpoints are really small. For Karma to be effective, she probably just needs 1 to 2 items. Oh, mid lane.
Yep, Totamax popping that ultimate will not be enough as Fallen Artemis is right there to support his mid laner Princeton, giving over that kill to Fallen Artemis.
Totamax just playing a little bit too aggressive. That is the Glaive aggression we always talk about, where they're just playing a little bit too aggressive. Totamax had already burned both of his subs and just plays a little bit too far up. Princeton catches him, gets the kill, and Fallen Artemis just comes in with the bear steal. He's gonna get more. You know, the bear needs to get some speed. He needs to get more for his Gucci boots he's already bought. So he does end up picking up the kill. Isn't gonna go over to his mid laner, but good overall play by Princeton. We were talking about what I think Omega Gaming does want to do, and I wanted to mention the Dragon Stacking. Simulacrum's item breakpoints are really small. For Karma to be effective, she probably needs like 1.5 items just about. The Moonstone plus whatever mythic item, probably going to be going Moonstone plus Ardent to just support adjustment. And that's at that point is when Omega Gaming is probably going to be the strongest. Obviously, Princeton do scale and adjustment do scale. The fear is, as this game gets later and later, anytime Issei has flash, he can just ulti and run and force Princeton adjustment down any single time. because it is so hard for Adjustment and Prince to get free damage out when they are short range characters. The engage range of Alistar is 650, while the Varus auto range is 600. So anytime Varus is auto attacking Issei is always in range to hit him with a combo, and with the ultimate of Alistar, he's just always able to kind of negate any of that CC. So it's going to be really scary if this game goes later, because the tanks of the side of Glaive Esports Rose are not going to care. You see a 4,000 health Cho'Gath running at you, McShoot's running at you, and Alistar running at you, you better sprint for your life. Whatever Gucci boots that Fallen Artemis has picked up, you need to buy the same, because you are going to get run down and killed.
Exactly. Predator really is good for those engages, but this is a very early game Volibear kind of build. He is aiming to basically get all of his effectiveness in the early game, and then in the late game, just be that tank, just get that engage, which still is useful, but not as useful as being able to run someone down lane.
Yeah, and we are going to be seeing an Ocean Soul game. They were able to pick up the second dragon, the Infernal Dragon, for the side of Glaive Esports. Kind of just a big boon for that team, and it just comes off the fact that Kiba and Issei have so much lane control down there that you can't really walk up. If you just want to look at Glaive's vision in the bot lane, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wards covering pretty much most jungle entrances. So anytime Fallen Artemis even walks into that bot side, they know exactly where he is. He is spotted out immediately. He can't get any place to kind of go down, and they have so much control that it's not like Adjustment in the sub can just face check any of these bushes, because McShoot can be down there, and if you die at this point, then it becomes a really big snowball, because a lot of the bot lane tower dies, and at that point, Kiba and Issei are unlocked to kind of just roam the map. So it's really scary for anybody on the side of Omega Gaming to even kind of face check and try to get some sort of shallow vision in this bot side.
Definitely. Totemax just hard pushing this wave, looking to really back and get that good item, as we may see a little bit of a skirmish down here in this bot side river.
They are setting up for a pincer right now. This is this is the Jaws music right now. Dun 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 dun. You can just feel Adjustment and the sub sweating as they see that the mid laner has already left. The jungler is in the bot side, and they're just losing all control. You can see Totemax is getting his blue buff. That's not Fallen Artemis or Omega Gaming's blue buff anymore. That's Totemax's blue buff. They have so much control that they know exactly if Fallen Artemis isn't spotted on these wards, that means he's not even in that quadrant of the map. It is really hard for Omega Gaming to kind of reorganize this bot lane because of the strength of Kiba and Issei. They're going to look to do a little bit of a freeze here, and it is smart just to kind of take some sort of lane state control. The problem will be that Kiba now is going to be able to pick up the 100 AD mark, but mid lane,
Totemax turning that Fallen Artemis as the flash coming up from Totemax, and the Stormbringer gets the stun. Mio rotating down, but just a second too late as the flash from Fallen Artemis comes out, grabs that kill. TP coming in from Simulacrum, and Miho just a little bit too late to this fight.
Totemax can't be pushed up. He wasn't obviously pushed up that far, but the engage rate of the Predator Volibear is pretty fast and pretty quick. He's able to catch out Totemax, does end up burning the flash, but there's still nothing he can do. Good kill by the side of Omega Gaming to punish. Again, the Glaive aggression is something you can always kind of count on. They will always try to overstep because they always feel like they're the better players and they can always outplay you. And in certain situations, that's just a little bit too much to outplay. Good play by Omega Gaming kind of does somewhat equalize a little bit of that gold lead, but it is still a 2k gold lead for the side of Glaive Esports Rose. As a support fight breaks out mid lane, don't be baited by it. It is just an Alistar and a Nautilus flexing their muscles down here.
Yeah, I've had to mute for a second. Just had a short sneeze come out. The caster's nightmare there.
Oh, I hate it so much. I think I got caught up during the pre-show as we were talking about something. Oh, we're gonna get a short pause, but I believe that the AD carry was lagging for the side of Omega Gaming, but I think both of them are gonna be able to immediately unpause it. Just a quick pause, but kind of taking the state of the game at the moment. We are seeing item breakpoints hit for a lot of the teams, for both teams at the moment, with the Chem Tank being finished on the side of Miho. The Gore Drinker, it was an item that was nerfed for the side of Olaf as the bot lane play.
Yup, here comes the flash out from the sub with the dredge line away. just an easy disengage. We got baited, Gungeon.
We got baited, but what is the sub doing in that play? They have no control of the bot lane at the moment. You can see Double Pink's already in the river covering. So Kiba and Issei know that Fallen Artemis isn't in range to try to kind of punish that play. They're just sitting in the lane bush, ends up blowing the sub's flash, and now this bot lane has to just sit under tower because anytime you walk up, you are in engage range for Issei.
Exactly. We do see the tier almost finished off by Totemax here as the back from the sub, a little bit preemptive as Kiba and Issei are still down here.
Yeah, Kiba and Issei are just kind of just farming the lane state. They're so strong right now. They have so much vision in this bot side jungle that they are not afraid of Fallen Artemis or any plays happening, and they're just able to just get some tower damage, get control, and they're gonna be looking for this Ocean Dragon when it spawns in at the right now.
Definitely. Ocean Drake already spawned and already pressure on it by Glaive eSports. This is what you want to be looking for. Totemax with the rotation. Even Miho starting to slightly rotate down on this Herald. 3 down bot side for Omega Gaming, but they're not focusing on this Drake. They are more worried about getting a kill down bot lane that they can't even get. Miho in the top lane taking this Herald. Nothing too much going on as the sub may be looking for some sort of dredge line here.
And this Glaive flexing its muscles. Miho is able to basically just take Rift Herald by himself as they also take the Dragon bot side, and this all leads from the plays happening around that bot lane. The amount of control Kiba and Issei are able to get is causing the map to just completely warp. It feels like Fallen Artemis has to kind of like handhold his bot lane because there's always a fear that Issei just forces the engage, that bot lane tower dies, and then Kiba's unlocked, and you already have McShoot'ems kind of just controlling all of these jungle entrances, so it's just getting scarier and scarier for the side of Omega Gaming. Obviously, the gold lead is not that big, but in terms of where the lane state and where the itemization is, I already had favored the Glaive eSports comp because I think that the triple tanks are going to be able to run through Princeton adjustment CCs. They have Olaf ulti, they have Alistar ulti, they have the engage range. It is just so hard for Omega Gaming to play out this comp unless they got such a early game lead from something that Fallen Artemis was able to get on this Predator Volibear, but nothing happened. And now, as this game is scaling, you get scarier, you get more and more scared because you already have a 6-stack Shogat. That is a 2500 health Shogat running at you with Merc Treads and Turbo Chem Tank. He is going to reach your backline and he is going to mess you up.
Oh, definitely. Especially if you if Fallen Artemis and the sub aren't able to play as their front line. If they get isolated, if they get picked, there's not much left to hold McShoots and Miho and even Kiba from getting to your backline.
Yeah, there's just nothing you can really do. Obviously, Simulacrum can offer some of the shielding, but top lane,
yeah, here comes Miho. Simulacrum doesn't stand a chance. Flashes away, but is slowed by the smite. Flash forward from McShoots is going to grab a kill, but still unable to be CC'd. McShoots running away from Fallen Artemis, but that's a lot of damage. The slows are very impactful for McShoots as Miho running away. McShoots trying to run away, but Fallen Artemis with the kill. And under tower, Kiba and Issei with the bot lane differential right now.
that is a bottom, that is a southern lane differential, if I do say so myself. Adjustment having just a great time in the bot lane as everybody abandons him, and he's just dope. And that is the Glaive aggression that gives them such big gold leads. As mid lane, I think he's just going for the solo kill.
Yeah, definitely going for
Oh my god!
Forward. Princeton may just be getting burned to death right now. Does have the TP coming in from Simulacrum, hook landing onto Miho. As there comes the ultimate, the knockup from the sub. But then the huge knockup, the power rush from Issei is huge. Issei taking a lot of damage, and the shield from Miho. Simulacrum is huge. The sub getting knocked up, knocked back, and knocked dead by Kiba. As Issei leaving at around 300 HP.
Adjustments, ulti, adjustments like finally I get the team fight, and then his ulti just goes completely wide, isn't able to catch anybody on the side of Glaive eSports, and it just felt like I was saying that there was a 2k gold lead, but now it's blown up to 6k, and Glaive eSports are going for their 20-minute Baron. Omega Gaming should know that this is happening, but there's nothing they can do, and at 20 minutes, Glaive eSports Rose already have the 8k gold lead. Plus the Baron, the 2 dragons as Ocean's dragon number 2 is spawning in a minute, and it feels like it is Glaive eSports all the time right now.
Glaive eSports has been dominating this game, and I think it really came from the fact that McShoot had that early game priority, was getting off those ganks. Fallen Artemis, I think we only saw him try to gank mid lane a few times, like 3 times, and 2 of those times were unsuccessful.
He tried to make the play bot lane, but it just felt like Issei just completely outplayed him. And the biggest problem that happened in this game was obviously the draft, I think for the side of Omega Gaming, was okay. I get the idea where Simulcrum just plays safe. You can kind of play through your bot side and then kind of amp them up. Oh my god. Issei's feeling himself.
Yeah, he is getting a little bit caught out, knocked back onto the sub as Miho just a little bit late to the re-engagement. Now it's 5 people in this top side jungle, as they could easily have taken some sort of objective bot side, but with this Drake coming up, down 1 person is going to be a little bit rough for Glaive eSports.
They end up losing Issei, but again, it is the Glaive aggression we all know and love. Forcing out Fallen Artemis' ulti. Great ult from Bears here, but they're looking for something.
Yep, Dredgeline coming out, but the Ragnarok is just enough. Fallen Artemis popping that turbo chem tank, getting knocked right back up. McShoot getting so much lifesteal, but not enough, as that will be another kill going over to Omega Game.
They're running for the dragon, but Glaive has already leashed this up. Miho should not get caught out here. Great knockup.
Yep, Totomax with the ultimate.
Oh my god.
So much damage right now with that front line from Miho. It doesn't even matter. Killer instinct coming out of the
Kiba!
down so low. Agnivia being popped, and that's the triple kill going over. Quadra kill to Kiba.
Glaive eSports just 3v5. Omega Gaming, they're just flexing. And again, you are walking into this. Obviously, you have the person lead, but you walk into this chokehold against a Cho'Gath, against a Cassiopeia. They just were not able to run through, and Kiba is just free firing. And Glaive eSports is, even when they are a little bit over aggressive, even when they are overplaying their hand a little bit too much, Issei face checking a bush with 5 members, it does not matter. Glaive is inevitable as they pick up the 3rd dragon. They already have an 11k gold lead at 23 minutes. And what can you say besides Southern Lane differential? It felt like it all went bad from level 3 when Fallen Artemis was just completely outplayed by Issei, and nothing on the map has gone good ever since. There were plays that Glaive was, or Omega Game was able to punish. They were able to punish the Glaive aggression, but at the end of the day, in these big team fights, it just felt like Kiba and Issei were so far ahead that Adjustment really can't do anything. When you're picking a champion like the Varus, the reason that Poke Varus is so good is because he's able to deal damage from such a far range. He's able to kind of whittle down these team fights. But when you pick a champion like the on-hit attack speed Varus, right now, there's nothing he can do because the engage range of Issei is always longer than Adjustment's auto range. If Adjustment is autoing anybody on the side of Glaive, they can always just engage on him. And when the bot lane gets so far ahead, there's nothing you can do. But again, Issei's getting caught.
Yeah, Issei getting caught out, popping that turbo.
Oh my god, Miho!
Miho just taking the tower shot. Killer instinct coming in. Kiba grabbing 1.
Oh!
Flashing over the wall, grabs that double kill on to Simulcrum as Kiba is looking for more. The knockup onto Princeton. Just going. Dredgeline coming out. And shutdown going over to Adjustment, being a little bit too greedy.
Yeah, Kiba's feeling himself. Kiba... I don't know how to like analyze that play, because how do I analyze an AD carry trying to 1v3 under inhibitor tower when mid lane Inner is not even down yet? He's feeling himself. He's going for it. Glaive is just kind of trying to put the nails in the coffin. Obviously, they might have a kind of a messed up hammer, but they're just kind of banging in the nails as much as possible as they're kind of ballooning still to this 11k gold lead as Totomax is caught with a beautiful Cassiopeia ultimate.
Yeah, Fallen Artemis saying, I want to get out of this, and then just walks right back into the base. Adjustment just getting caught out. Miho, not even using the beast, still gets the kill. Totomax is doing the same thing Kiba was doing, and is just running on in, looking to 1v2 here, but does have a little bit of support from his team. Inhib number 1 and number 2 going down very soon, as it's only the sub and Simulcrum up right now. What can they do to defend this base?
They're gonna be able to defend this base as the Baron has run out, and again, it is only 25 minutes, so Omega Gaming's respawn timers are quick enough, but it feels like the death blow has kind of been put in. The final nail in the coffin is kind of already set, and Omega Gaming is just playing on borrowed time. The item breakpoints are coming in for everybody on the side of Glaive Esports Rose, and everyone on the side of Omega Gaming is just so poor at the moment, as we are going to see the Ocean Dragon come up in 2 minutes, but I don't even think that Glaive is going to kind of let that happen. They're just going to try to force it down their throat, as everybody on the side of Glaive is just so strong right now. They're just looking for this final top lane inhibitor line.
Definitely. As here is the sub getting caught out, getting slowed. Does land the root onto Miho and the knockup, but Miho sub taking so much damage. That's a killer instinct, and there's Cassiopeia in the backline dealing all the damage.
Oh my god!
Going on it, getting sprung and just everything going on to him. But there's still Miho and McShoots and Totemax to deal the damage right here. Princeton taking quite a bit as Totemax getting stuck in the wall.
I love watching Glaive players just try to sprint it as fast as possible to kill members of Omega Gaming. At the moment, again, Kiva just going a little bit too ham, gets caught by the Anivia Q and ends up dying, but it does not matter. They still have 4 members, and 4 members of Glaive is going to be enough. It does not matter, as they are going to be able to pick up the second Baron at 27 minutes, sitting at a 14k gold lead. They're going to give the Cho'Gath feast stack over to Miho. Good guy McShoots, as we have a 9-stack Cho'Gath with 4k health, and on the other side we have a 2-item Varus trying his best, and that's all you can hope for the side of Omega Gaming.
Yeah, but just been trying to put the team on his back. Has that LDR right now, feeling pretty good. This is it's a little bit sus of a build, but I still think it can work into this tanky front line, as I suspect a fight going on here. Mio and Issei leading the charge as the hook onto
Oh my god.
So much damage from Mio.
Oh!
He gets a triple knockup, pops the shield as the sub taking a lot of damage. Fallen Artemis
Watch
at about
Kiba.
half HP. Kiba is looking for a point to killer instinct. Undertow coming out, double knockup onto Smalcom being taken out really low. Sub taken out. Fallen Artemis now trying to do anything he can. Uses the Stormbringer to make shoots, but it's not going to be enough, as Kiba does so much, as that is Agnivia getting devoured, as Totemax is just in the base right now. Didn't even need her for the fight, and that freeze on the screen tells me that that is GG for Glaive Esports.
And at 28 minutes, Glaive Esports put a dominant game number 1 in the books with a 15k gold lead. It just felt like they had control from minute number 1, and there was not much that Omega Gaming could do. It felt like when Omega Gaming was getting things, it was on Glaive's mistakes. But what a great game by Glaive Esports Rose. They pick up the 1-0 in this best of 5 finals of the XLNC Mid-League Spring.